We begin in the mighty Big 12. Number 7, Houston. They had lost 3 of their last 4. Those were against the best of the Big 12. Getting a visit from Baylor. They had won 42 straight over unranked teams. Longest streak going in Division I. They were at home. This was close, though, and Baylor was game for it. Tunde Yesufu down low, puts him up 4. But Lap, this is where Houston kicked it in.
Well, the tremendous pressing, Kingston Fleming gets it over to Emmanuel Sharp, great shooter behind the arc. And then Fleming himself drills the step-back 3 at the top of the key. Houston wins 77-64.
And at one point, it was a 13-0, 17-4 run. And the Cougars pull away. We're going to see them close out the regular season at Oklahoma State Saturday at noon on CBS. And Steve Lapis is going to be on the call. And they'll try to keep this winning going into the postseason.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Houston's going to be okay. You know, they played the top half of the Big 12, got beat up a little bit, now facing the bottom part of the Big 12, and able to lick their wounds, kind of gather themselves. They're on a 2-game win streak. Baylor is a little. They gave them a little bit of talent, they gave them a little bit of challenge, but they pulled it through at the end. They have Oklahoma State coming up, one last game to kind of just finish off their checklist before maybe going off on a little run.
Yes, with that Houston regional in the back of their mind.
Obviously, Houston 2-3 in the past 5. That's not ideal. But like you guys said, one of the losses is at Hilton Coliseum. The other one's at Allen Fieldhouse. And the other one's to an Arizona team that's been tremendous all season. Their problems aren't as big as that little stretch made them look.
Problems?
I know that they're not going to win the Big 12 because Arizona's already racked that up. But remember, last season, Auburn wins the SEC, and then Florida wins the national championship. I could see something like that happening here. You don't have to be the champion of the Big 12 to be good enough to win the national championship. And I think Houston, despite the little 3-game losing streak, still looks the part to me.
I mean, when I evaluate Houston, I know that I don't look at those 3 games and say that's why they can't win it. I look at what they have and what they do. Now, Kelvin Sampson is one of the best in the country at scoring points off turnovers and second chance points. Tonight, they had 28 points off turnovers to 11 for Baylor. That's what he does. But the big thing that happened tonight was the 3 guards scored. But the big thing was Tugler had 14 points tonight. And when he's able to get in double figures, it makes a huge difference. It takes some of the weight off of those guards who have to do it game in and game out. And let's not forget, last year they had a guy named Jawan Roberts who was in his 6th year. He could score inside. They don't really have that this year. So the 3 games aside that they lost to great teams, I just don't know if they have enough up front to mess around with the Michigans and the Arizonas and the Dukes, those kind of teams that have powerful front lines.
Looks like you've been getting ready for Saturday's game.
Trying to.
Yeah. All right, and now look, like Houston, we've had some teams who've spent time in the top 10 struggling a bit down the stretch. Houston, we talked about who they faced. One of them was Kansas. Kansas slumping. BYU also lost Tuesday night. How about Purdue? Below 500 over their last 11 games, coming into Wednesday's game at Northwestern. Maybe a harder game to get up for, Emeka, but CJ Cox coming through, a career-high 27. They needed all of them.
Yep, shot clock winding down. Jordan Clayton with the tough 3. Wildcats take the lead 66-65. It's Cox again. Big shot from the corner, drains it. Boilermakers up 2. And then Nick Martinelli passes it. Saves it, but Purdue holds on 70-66.
Yeah, what a crazy final minute there as Cox is the hero. 5 of 8 from deep as Purdue is able to escape GP. But something's still bothering me about these guys.
It doesn't look the way it needs to be looking as the NCAA tournament is just around the corner. This team has real goals that they established in the offseason, and it's not to make the Sweet 16 or even go to the Final Four. They want to win a national championship. They want to hang that banner. They talked about it openly. I'm not ruling anything out, but they're not playing that way right now. And most of the issues for them are on the defensive end of the court. They're outside of the top 30 in defensive efficiency on the season in this little stretch of 5 games where they're 2-3, rank outside of the top 60. Simply put, you cannot win 6 games in that tournament guarding like that. They are going to have to get better and really quickly, or else they're not going to be able to play as long as they wanted to.
They've always, Matt Painter's teams are always elite offensively. There's no doubt about it. I think that Kaufman-Wren just has not been the dominant player that he's been at times. You know, he had a good game tonight. He had 11 and 10. But I think he's the kind of guy that you expect to see him get 21 and 10. And he has not been able to do it. And I don't know if it's because Clough is in there, who's another big guy, and Kaufman likes to play close to the basket. But I think not having him be that dominant force that he can be, I think has been a big reason why they haven't been quite what they were.
Yeah, Purdue's been a very interesting team for me all season long. When I saw them at the beginning of the year playing, I'm like, oh, wow, this team, they might be a Final Four team. And every time I've checked in since that, it's like I've just knocked it down a few pegs to come to how they're playing now. But still, like, I see these moments, I have these flashes where I'm like, oh, there it is.
That's
like,
right.
You know, the ball pops, it zips, you know, Braden Smith, Trey Cox, it all clicks. I'm like, you know what? Maybe. So that's my thing. Just maybe. If they can find it, I think they can make a good run.
You want to scout them again? You get them on CBS Saturday against Wisconsin, whose highlights we'll get to here in a second. But more Big Ten action. The Buckeyes, they just got that big win over Purdue. They moved into CBS Sports Bracketology's projected field, but they got to avoid the letdown, right? The Ohio State stumbling blocks have been a thing all year. They go to Penn State. I mean, you talk about no doubt, GP. Bruce Thornton, 18-5, had him up double digits early.
And here's John Mobley Jr. This was part of a 23-2 run. Buckeyes blowing it wide open. Amari Bynum with the dunk at 62-31. And then it's Mobley Jr. again. He had 28 points, made 8 3-pointers. Ohio State wins it 94-62.
8 of 9 from 3. Maybe they went to the creamery, too. Badgers. Projected 6 seed back from their West Coast swing. Maryland still in a little bit of a rebuild. Braden Carrington at 18 lap. Goodbye.
And then Dowd Blackwell driving it to the basket, puts it in. He had 14 points in this game. Nick Boyd gets the pass up ahead and lays it in. Badgers lead 45-24. Austin Rapp buries the triple to extend the Wisconsin lead.
My goodness. And they have a couple great wins factored into all that bracketology. And these are the Big Ten thoughts from our CBS Sports Bracketology team. Look at that. 4 teams on the top 3 lines, plus Nebraska. Emeka, your thoughts on any of these teams or the overall layout there?
Yeah, I'm high on Ohio State. You know, I just something about that team. I don't know if because I was my high school color was red. But I want to see him
red in the Big Ten.
I want to see him succeed, and I think that they're turning up at the right time, and you know, I'm rooting for them.
They are playing better at the right time, and they do look like they're headed toward the NCAA tournament now, projected as a 9-seed CBS Sports Bracketology. And like you noted earlier in the night, it'd be a real shame if Bruce Thornton goes down as Ohio State's all-time leading scorer, which is in play, and then never actually participates in an NCAA tournament. That would have been a shame. I know he would have left college disappointing. It now looks like he's going to be able to participate in this sport's biggest and grandest event.
You know, Indiana's hit a rough road lately and probably is not in the tournament today, but they're not dead yet because they have a pretty good net. They have a strength of schedule of 30, and they have two quad one wins, and they have a game at Ohio State coming up. So if they're the type of team, they could beat Ohio State and go on a little bit of a run in the Big Ten, they could still find themselves in the tournament.
Yeah, they kind of have switched spots in the last couple weeks. Hoosiers ending a 4-game losing streak against Minnesota earlier on Wednesday.